Well, you saw him there. We're now joined on the line by Brigadier Sabata Mokgwabone, a Northwest Police spokesperson. Brigadier, thank you. So some people are flouting the rules. Were you expecting that? Because it's been Christmas, I guess.
Good evening, Francis, and good evening to your listeners. I think I missed what you said earlier. If you can repeat that, please.
Sure, I was saying it's Christmas, so I guess not unexpected that there's been wholesale flouting of the regulations.
Yes, it's unfortunate that in terms of COVID, we are not supposed to be saying it's Christmas or New Year. People are supposed to be complying because here we are talking about our lives. I mean, people that we know passed on as a result of COVID-19, our brothers, our mothers, our sisters. So everybody is supposed to be complying. So it's unfortunate that it's apparent that people are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. And unfortunately, as we all know, the numbers are increasing.
Yeah, incredibly so. Let's just be clear about what the regulations say, specifically around taverns. So liquor can be bought and sold from Monday to Thursday in retailers, but it can still be sold in restaurants and taverns over the weekend. So what were you looking at? Presumably mask wearing, the social distancing, and closing in time for the curfew as well.
Yes, there's quite a number of things that we are actually enforcing. For example, like you correctly indicated, we also wanted to make sure that if maybe they are not allowing a large number of people to enter those establishments, because once you allow a large number into your establishment, obviously then you are going to have a problem with social distancing, and that's what we actually saw yesterday. The other thing is that we must also make sure that they close on times. Remember that they are supposed to close at 10 because the curfew starts at 11 o'clock. So we're also trying to check if they are also complying with those regulations. I can also indicate that we had an unfortunate incident, but it was after we did the interview with your colleagues in Kuma, whereby because the operation was continuing, the members had to go to one of the taverns to try and see if maybe there is a compliance. And then they were pelted with stone by some of the people that were at the tavern, which is something that we cannot allow. And we are still going to deal with that particular matter. In actual fact, we have opened a case of public violence. We are going to investigate that, but we still go back to that establishment to make sure that at the end of the day, we enforce the law.
Sure. So police officers were pelted with stones. Was anyone seriously injured? And were there any arrests?
We haven't received reports of injuries at this stage, but our vehicles, few of them were damaged as a result of that incident, but also we haven't effected any arrest. But it is clear that people don't want to comply with the Disaster Management Act regulations, so they will go to an extent of rather than them complying, they will go to an extent of pelting police official systems, which is totally wrong, and it's something that we cannot allow to happen in South Africa, unfortunately.
Let's talk about mask wearing. One of the patrons raised a point. How can people wear masks when they're eating or drinking? It's not possible. So were you reasonable, given what that person said on screen, when you approached that issue?
Yeah, that's what they said, but unfortunately that is not the issue that can be raised with police officials. But the thing, Francis, is that, yes, some of those people, in actual fact, when we got there, some of them were having those masks literally in their pockets. So there's a difference between who has someone who is wearing a mask, then will drop it down on the chin to drink, then maybe put it back after drinking. Well, unlike somebody who has the mask in his or her pocket. So that's what they are doing. But that is not the issue that they can raise with us, unfortunately. Our responsibility is to make sure that we enforce the law, not to go and argue later. They know, we are all adults, everybody knows, and they listen every time when the president addresses the nation. So they are not supposed to be coming with a lot of explanation. They are supposed to be complying with Disaster Management Act regulation.
Yeah. Brigadier, during the first hard lockdown, there were some reports of police using excessive force. Remember that woman selling atcha, she was thrown in a van and locked up. And some were saying the police's role should be urging people, explaining the regulations, education as well. What is your approach right now? Are you hard on anyone who's not in line? Or do you also see it as your role to help people understand and to educate the public?
Francis, we are part of the South African government. We are also part of the communicators in the public service. So we are also doing our best to make sure that we educate members of the community about everything regarding COVID, including the social behavioral change. That's what we are also doing on a daily basis. We are working with our colleagues from other government departments. So in terms of making sure that we are also professional when we deal with members of the community, that's what we are doing, and that's what even yesterday we were not afraid to take to allow the SABC crew to accompany us, because we are also trying to make sure that we do everything the way it is supposed to be done, but we are also communicating from our side. In actual fact, I'm not sure, because the government message is clear, but people seem to be interpreting it the other way around, because, or there's a certain way they perceive it, because the message is clear, the message is being communicated on a daily basis. It's not only communicated by SAPS, it's communicated by various government departments. But that's what we are also doing, and we will keep on doing that. But we will also continue to make sure that in terms of operations, we police that, we enforce the law. So we will make sure that we educate, and at the same time, we will also make sure that we enforce.
All right, thank you so much for your time tonight. Spokesperson for the Northwest Police, Brigadier Sabata Mokgwabone.